And it's us one more time with the Horror Guys.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
And we're at episode 239 of the Horror Guys. We're going to talk about some horror movies, aren't we?
No.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Well, we have a pretty darn good Lovecraftian Dagon from 2001. It's amazing how many works Lovecraft inspired that aren't Lovecraft.
I think he wrote Dagon.
Oh, he did write that
Yeah,
one.
I think that's actually one of his stories.
Okay. Forget I said that.
It's not just inspired
I'm
by.
so embarrassed. I thought it was just an inspired by. Okay. That's why it's Lovecraftian.
Very,
Yeah.
yes.
And we'll look at a different cult in 2015's Baskin, a Turkish film. And then we'll eat some of the devil's candy. And we'll watch an excellent remake of Dawn of the Dead, which was done in 2004.
And all of those were pretty good.
They were.
So we don't have any stinkers this week.
No. The bonus movies are Demonic Toys from 1992, which was actually
Okay,
my
maybe there are some stinkers.
least favorite of the week. Yeah, that was not great. But on the other hand, it did inspire the spin-off Baby Oopsie, which was pretty great. So, there's that.
And killer toys are cool.
In general.
They didn't do a great job with that movie.
No, the characters were kind of meh. And there was a pretty good anthology film, Holidays, from 2016.
Very hit and miss.
Yeah, some were hit, some were missed, but each one's a different author, different director.
Yeah.
So you get a variety of works there.
So we're going to talk about 4 of those movies here today. If you want to read about demonic toys and holidays, hop on over to horrorbulletin.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter, which comes once a week in the email, totally free, no ads, no spam, just our reviews every week. And this one's already gone out, but you can read all the back issues there too. Just horrorbulletin.com. You don't have to sign up. You can just read them right there on the site if you want. Yay.
What a wonderful service we provide.
But if you'd like to pay for our reviews,
We would love that.
Horror Bulletin Monthly Print Magazine number 23 is available now at any place you buy normal books. You can get this as a print paperback. You can get this as an ebook. You can get it from Apple or Kobo or Barnes & Noble or Apple. I said Apple, didn't I?
Wherever fine
Amazon.
Wherever fine ebooks and paperbacks are sold online.
Yeah. Or even better, you can go straight over to horrorguysshop.com and pick up a copy direct from us.
Groovy.
We make a couple pennies more if you buy it straight from us. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
But as long as you've got one, we're happy.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
All right. If you'd like to be unhappy, well, we've got a movie for you. That's right. It's 2001's Dagon, directed by Stuart Gordon, who did a whole bunch of good movies, not necessarily all Lovecrafty things. Written by H.P. Lovecraft and Dennis Powley. Stars Ezra Godin, Francisco Rabal, and Raquel Moreno. And Ezra Godin, I'll bet they really wanted to get Jeffrey Combs for this and cast him instead.
He's budget. Jeffrey
Stuart
Combs,
Gordon
right?
has worked with Jeffrey Combs numerous times. But, yeah, he's kind of a lookalike.
Yeah, he kept reminding me of him. So
I think that was intentional. This was probably written with Combs in mind, and he just wasn't available for some reason. Mm-hmm. Anyway, spoiler-free, what happens?
Well, this is a pretty fast-moving and steady one with thrills. It's got a lot of thrills in it. And the main guy is more of an everyman kind of guy rather than an action hero type. But it works pretty well for this. The effects are consistently good throughout it, and we were entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit of a spoiler, but in the monthly print magazine, I chose this as my favorite of the month.
Oh, that is a spoiler.
There's a lot of good movies last month, but this,
Yeah.
I think, was my favorite.
There were some good ones.
It was much better than I expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, after the credits, we open on a man with scuba gear diving down to what looks like an undersea well, or maybe it's a cave. But it's got a thing on it shaped like a big eye. It's carefully sculpted and very ornate. It's possibly even made of gold. Suddenly, he finds a naked girl there with him. No, she's a mermaid, and she's got huge fangs. Well, Paul wakes up. That was just a dream. His girlfriend Barbara tells him to just enjoy it since they're now extremely rich. He says no, their stocks are going down. He's some kind of business owner or investor or something. She complains, "You can't program life," and he argues with her. She gets annoyed and throws his company laptop overboard. They're on a yacht. And he flips out. You throw my laptop in the ocean, I'm going to flip out too.
Yeah.
Well, Vicky and Howard are on the boat too, and they are amused at the conflict.
But suddenly, a storm blows in.
And extremely suddenly, and everyone goes below deck to hide. The boat is pushed into some rocks and springs a leak. Vicky is trapped and stuck, so Barbara and Paul take the raft to a nearby village for help. Howard stays with Vicky, and Vicky's blood leaks through the hole in the boat, and we see it heading downward.
Uh-oh.
You'd have to be bleeding pretty heavily to see a blood trail in the ocean.
It's magic blood. Magic forces are at work.
All right. Well, Paul and Barbara make it to the village, but there's no one around. They come to a church that has a symbol on the side that looks a lot like that eye thing from Paul's nightmares. They find a priest and some fishermen who say they'll help. Barbara and the priest go to find the police, and Paul goes with the fishermen. She notices the priest has webbed fingers. On her way to the hotel for the phone, she sees that the villagers here are very weird-looking people.
Yeah, they are.
She makes it to the hotel, where the hotel man and the priest attack her.
And she hasn't even gotten the full view of them yet.
Paul gets back to Howard's boat, but both Howard and Vicky are gone. He does find a bloody towel. When Paul gets back to the village, the priest takes him to the hotel, too. The hotel clerk appears to have gills on his neck, but he'll still rent a room to Paul. The window in his room is open to the rainstorm, and the lights don't work. This is maybe the worst hotel room ever.
Hope he got it cheap.
The bathroom is quite extreme.
Yeah, it was. That was something.
The whole room would make any truck stop bathroom look wonderful in comparison. And I'm talking the bad kind.
Yeah, very bad.
Barbara comes into the room, but it's really the fish woman from his dreams. No, that was a nightmare too. Don't you get annoyed when they do that? He looks out the window to see dozens of villagers down there pointing at him, and they don't seem quite normal either. They growl and moan outside his door. That little lock on that door is not going to hold him for long. He ends up jumping out the window and through a skylight to escape. Everyone in town seems to be out to capture Paul.
And that looked really painful, but he's fine. Not a cut on him.
People are always jumping through skylights without injuries. Yeah.
Sure.
Paul hides in a butcher shop, and he finds human remains hanging from the hooks. The villagers screech and squeal and move like animals. Somehow, Paul does get away, and he runs into a homeless man who says they want his face. 2 women dead, 1 from boat, 1 come with you. They killed. No one leave Imboca. People come, no one leave. He talk like Tonto.
Kind of, yeah.
The old man recalls that Imboca used to be a town of God when he was a boy. There were no fish, so they prayed. Captain Kinbaro arrived and said he had a better way. The great god Dagon will bring fish to Imboca. Kinbaro and the villagers do a ritual and start doing new prayers. They start finding lots of fish and even gold in the sea.
Yay, it worked.
They turn against the Christian god and kill their priest. Eventually, Dagon wanted a sacrifice, so they took the old man's parents. Old Ezekiel says he's the last man in town because he drinks and he's crazy, so they don't want him. Well, there's only 1 car in town, and it belongs to Xavier Kinbaro, the grandson of the original captain. Ezekiel says the villagers are turning into sea creatures. The old man distracts the guards as Paul tries to steal the car. Paul has no idea how to hotwire a car and ends up running into the Kinbaro house to hide. He goes into a room and sees the girl from his nightmares, only this time she's real. She lies and sends the guards away. She knows all about him, and she's very happy to see him.
And she only is showing herself from the waist up.
She's in bed with a
wonder
blanket
why.
over her legs. What's under there, you wonder?
Yeah.
She's Uxia, and she's been waiting for him. He pulls back the blanket, and she has tentacles instead of legs.
Surprise.
Hentai.
Pretty good effect, too.
Yeah. He runs outside and gets the car keys from a guard. More people chase Paul to another house. A different tentacled monster grabs him and forces Paul's head into the lizard-filled toilet.
Ew.
But Paul whacks him with the toilet tank lid. Regardless, he's soon captured. Paul wakes up in a barn with Barbara. Ezekiel is there now, a prisoner as well. Vicky is there too, but now she's missing her leg. It's inside me, Barbara tells Paul that if it happens to her, she wants him to kill her. Villagers arrive outside and they all make a run for it. They're all caught once again, and Vicky kills herself in front of the group. I've already lost track how many times these people have been captured.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that. Capture, get away, capture, get away.
Yeah. Paul and Ezekiel are chained up, and the priest cuts the old man's throat and eyes and then peels off his face.
Ew.
They get started on Paul, but then Uxia comes in and makes them stop. She says that until they came, there had been no sacrifices for a year. He begs for them to release Barbara, and that makes Uxia jealous. She leaves, and Paul escapes once again, killing the priest and his henchmen. Paul runs to the church and finds a secret tunnel leading down into the caves beneath the city. How do these oceanfront towns have caves beneath the city that are not flooded?
That are not flooded? Magic.
Yeah, okay, all
Yep.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Paul runs to the church and finds a secret tunnel leading down into the caves. Meanwhile, Uxia is cutting and tormenting Barbara in the ritual room. They hook her up to a pulley system and lower her into the water where Dagon awaits to impregnate her. It's like a big well. Naturally, Paul arrives in the same room and sets some of the cultists on fire. Paul slowly wheels Barbara back up. "Kill me, you promised." But then Dagon reaches up and pulls Barbara back down with him, leaving her arms behind in the restraints.
Ew, that looked painful.
Maybe impregnating was not the plan here. He just wanted dinner. The villagers then beat up Paul, but once again, Uxia makes them stop. Uxia's father informs Paul that he is a Kinbaro and part of the family. His name is Pablo Kinbaro. Uxia tells him to remember his dreams, and he knows it's true.
Welcome home.
Refusing to accept what he is, Paul pours fuel on himself and sets himself on fire. Uxia grabs him and they both fall into Dagon's watery pit. He sprouts gills, and the two of them swim down into the big stone eye.
Happy ending.
Yeah, sorta.
A romantic love story.
Well, it ended that way.
Sorta.
Paul is very much not a macho leading man type. He spends much of the film whining, hiding, and running. Paul rips the ignition wires out of the car to hotwire it, and then a few minutes later he gets the keys and it starts right up, with all the wiring torn apart.
Yeah, I noticed
How does that happen?
I noticed that. Wait a minute.
We both lost track of how many times Paul was captured and escaped in this. It seemed like every time they wanted to end a scene, they hadn't captured and escaped. It's actually, though, it's very good and very intense. It never slows down or relents even for a little bit. The villagers are very creepy and seemingly everywhere. It's all very atmospheric. The makeup effects and the tentacle things are all really well done. I totally liked it.
Overall, really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. What's next?
Baskin from 2015, a Turkish horror film.
Directed by Can Evrenol, written by Ogulkan Arab Ake, Can Evrenol, and Ursun Sadakoglu. Stars Mehmet Saragoglu, Gorkan Kasal, and Ergun Kyukyuchu.
And we apologize.
Just give me the
if we have
Japanese names. I can handle
mispronounced
those. Runtime 1 hour 37 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. Spoiler free. It starts out nice and calm with a group of police in Turkey hanging out, eating, and having a good time. It builds slowly and goes to some really disturbing places very quickly. The visuals and cinematography are great, and if you want an unsettling watch, we recommend it.
Yeah, I had never heard of this one before or anything.
I've seen it
Completely under the
mentioned, but
radar.
I'd not seen it yet. So yeah, this was a first for both of us.
And I saw someone on a discussion forum, horror discussion, who lives in Turkey and heard about this, like after the fact, and can't find any place to watch it. And he's in Turkey, and it's a Turkish film, so something's messed up
Is
there.
banned because it's too true.
Maybe, yeah, it's a documentary.
It's a documentary, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we start out with a little boy hearing his mother moaning in their bedroom. It sounds painful, so he goes to watch TV to drown it out. Well, a weird bloody hand reaches for him. He bangs on his mother's door, but the hand gets him. Credits roll.
You knew.
Yeah. Well, we cut to a police van sitting outside a building. A man wearing a raggy cloak walks in carrying a bucket of meat. 5 policemen are inside eating dinner. The bucket man brings the cook some strange-looking meat. The policemen brag about which animals they've had sex with, and it's not clear whether they're all joking or not.
It's very not clear.
Yeah, but they're having some body talk, and it's clear they all get along and know each other fairly well. Well, Safey, one of the cops, he's acting kind of sick and headachy. He goes to the bathroom to throw up, and while the others try to cause trouble with the cook's son. Something terrible happens to the man in the restroom, or maybe he's just going crazy. The police can't decide. We don't really see anything happen to him. He just kind of stares in the mirror and starts screaming. Yeah, so he has some vision or something. They think it's probably just claustrophobia. Well, Safey soon recovers, and the 5 men drive away. And then we have a musical number as they all sing along in the van with the radio. Well, eventually they do get an actual police call on the radio and reply that they'll check it out. Somebody needs backup. And then the radio fails. Well, Safey says he's heard lots of bad stories about this place ever since he was a child. He knows where it is, but he's really, reluctant to go there. Oh, so they head there. Suddenly a naked man runs across the road. They all get out to look for him. They don't find him, but they do find hundreds of frogs.
There's a lot of frogs in this movie.
There is, yeah. Well, they get back in the van and drive on until they hit something else. They don't quite see what it is. It's just a blur. Crash off the road into the water. And then we cut back to earlier in the restaurant, and the men are talking calmly. The youngest cop, Arda, tells the oldest cop, Ramsey, about a childhood friend who saw his father's soul leaving his body. He was the little boy in the pre-credit sequence, and that was all just a dream. But it turns out his friend had been killed by a car that very night. Ramsey says to look around. They're not the only ones in the place. There's like a shadowy figure in the other room. And everything gets very strange. Starts raining blood inside the place. He falls backwards into the water and wakes up being pulled out of the van, which drove into the river. So he was just having kind of a
flashbacky nightmare dream.
Yeah, as he got knocked out from the impact. Well, suddenly a giant of a man appears with a lantern, guides them all back up to the road. The man's family and a bunch of people are there, and they have a lot of buckets of frogs. More frogs.
Meat.
Yeah. Well, the cops still don't know who or what they hit, and they all are panicked a little bit. But the family tells the cops the place they were headed is just right there through the trees. Well, the cops insist on being shown the way, so they drag one of the guys along to guide them. The group walks to a big old house, and there's already a police car there with the lights going, and no police. It was the police station back in the Ottoman days, and then it was a stable, and it's abandoned now. Safey starts getting claustrophobic or whatever it is again, and Ramsey calms him down. Their guide bails on him, running back through the woods. He just nopes right out of there.
Yep.
Yeah, nope. Well, they all go inside looking for the missing policeman into the huge dark building. They find one of them, who was there earlier, banging his head against the wall. Man is too shaken up to speak, but he does point into the next room. Safey follows some frogs and finds a bunch of people chained up in various bondage gears and bondage situations, it looks like, but they attack him. The other cops go downstairs, and in other rooms they find lots of strange ritual things and drawings. Apo finds people chained up and in cages, while Arda finds a freaky butcher or two. And then they notice him. And all the men soon find themselves running through caves being chased by naked, crazy animal people.
There's a lot of people chained up in cages here. You'd think somebody would have noticed by now.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Well, it's Turkey.
Yeah, well, and it's cold, and there's some dark magic going on, so, yeah.
A lot of missing people, though, if they're all stuck in those cages.
But dark forces are conspiring against them, so.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we cut back to Ramsey and Artie sitting in the restaurant again. Ramsey admits that he used to see these creatures when he was little, and this has been going on for a long time. Well, all the cops wake up in a dungeon, chained to the walls. There's some kind of bloody orgy ritual going on, and there are a lot of people there. Their leader comes in, and he's something. He's the father. And everything gets quiet. He welcomes them cheerfully, and he proselytizes that hell is not a place you go. You carry hell with you at all times. You carry it within you. Well, Father then reaches into Apo's slit stomach and disembowels him. He's basically a cult leader, and these weird, twisted people are his followers. Yovzi is next. Yavaz? I'm not sure how to pronounce
One
that.
of the other
Yes,
cops.
one of the other cops is next. Father pokes his eyes out deeply.
Yeah, that looked painful.
Yeah, but it gets worse. Father's creepy assistant opens a door, and a woman wearing a goat mask crawls out. Or maybe it's a mask. They both,
It's a little hard to say.
yeah, they both make the now blind officer have sex with her. He keels over, and a tarantula crawls out of his mouth. And I wonder if that was supposed to be symbolic of his soul leaving the body.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. Ramsey simply gets his throat cut, and this only leaves young Arda. Well, somehow he gets loose. He beats Father to death with his step stool. Arda makes his way back outside, laughing all the while. He runs down the road in the dark, and we get a flashback to the pre-credit scene with young Arda, and then Arda gets hit by his own police van. Boom. It's in some kind of time loop.
Oh, he was
He
the
was
one
what they hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Well, okay. Next time we're vacationing in Turkey, remind me to never call the police. It's more trouble than it's worth. Baskin means incursion, if you were wondering. I kept waiting for somebody named Baskin to show up. No, that just means incursion.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off pretty slow, but once it gets going, it's way off the rails. Even in the beginning, when the cops are in the diner having food, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
What are they eating?
Unsettling.
Why
Yeah.
are they behaving so badly? Who is that guy with the bucket of meat?
Yeah,
It's
and
weird
what
right
kind-
away.
And what kind of meat is that?
Yeah.
It seems suspicious.
But we saw the butchers later, so it's not maybe that suspicious.
Yeah.
Well, the cameraman definitely earned his pay on this one. The cinematography is excellent, with many interesting viewpoints and perspectives. The camera just moves through windows and under furniture, and it's weird.
Mm-hmm. Very well done.
The character Father is one of the creepiest movie monsters ever, simply because he really looks like that. Very minimal makeup was used, and he's very calm and righteous in his gruesome rituals. He's like 4 feet tall, got these huge lips and baggy face. He's a neat-looking guy.
Bald-headed. Yeah, he's very unique looking. Yeah.
And he's done just very little else.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very weird movie.
Yeah, it is.
But we both liked it.
Very much. Yeah, it was a good one. Would highly recommend. And another good one, Dawn of the Dead.
2004, directed by Zack Snyder, the Justice League guy. I think this may have gone the way he wanted it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Written by George Romero and James Gunn, stars Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames, Jake Weber, and Mekhi Phifer. Hour and 41 minutes, trailer in the show notes. You know, we haven't actually done the original Dawn of the Dead yet.
We could.
We could.
We could, but we've seen this one, and it's so good.
Of the original trilogy, I think the original Dawn of the Dead is the best of the three.
The original.
Day of the this one.
This one.
The
yeah.
second movie, the one in the mall, is the best,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah. I
And
think
then
so,
this
too.
one is the remake, and
I
it
think
may
this
be the
is
best of the whole bunch.
Best of all 6 of them. Yeah.
Spoiler free, what happens?
This was quite an excellent remake. Things were updated while staying true to the original 1978 original. So it's got, a modern mall with all the modern stuff. Well, modern for the time. It's not modern now. But it's got great effects, steady action, lots of gore, and characters that you care about.
I don't know. I think it holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
Nobody's got cell phones in this, but other than that, it could be today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretend the cell phone
19 years
service
old.
went out, and it
Malls
would still
haven't
be the
changed
same.
that much. Yeah.
Malls? Malls? You mean like with
Malls,
stores?
yeah.
They still have those?
Yeah, somewhat.
They do a little bit.
Yeah. So spoil the heck out of it for us.
Well, we open on a hospital, and there's a patient with a bite on his hand. They suspect some kind of brain injury because he just isn't behaving right. Anna is a nurse, and she gets off shift and heads home to the suburbs. She hops into the shower with her husband, Louis, and misses a special news report on the TV.
Things are breaking out.
Louis wakes up and finds little girl Vivian in their room. She tears his throat out with her teeth. Anna locks out Vivian and does first aid on her husband, but it's clearly not going to help. She calls 911, but all circuits are busy. Meanwhile, Vivian is outside banging on the door. Suddenly, Louis gets up and attacks her too. She crawls out the bedroom window just as he breaks through the door.
Now, I didn't quite catch their relationship, so was this actually Lewis's daughter? And not both their daughters?
Well, they're a married couple. Assuming he was not surprised to see the little girl in their house, I assume he's one of their daughters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was clear. But I kind of had the impression it was...
Wasn't hers?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because she didn't seem that broke up. I mean, she was upset, of course, because, had a child. But, I think if it was her child, she would have been more upset. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's the impression.
You're probably right.
That's the impression I had.
They don't last long, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Well, she gets a look at the neighborhood outside her window, and things have gotten somewhat chaotic out there. We see that something bad has happened basically everywhere, as she has a wild drive through the apocalypse. She eventually runs off the road and hits a tree in the woods, and then credits roll as we hear interviews about the virus.
And I really liked that drive through the apocalypse. There's all kinds of stuff happening in the neighborhood.
That whole pre-credit sequence could be a movie by itself.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Well, when Anna wakes up, there's a cop pointing a gun at her. He's Kenneth, and he's not infected. The pair soon join up with Michael, Andre, and Luda, who is pregnant. They're headed to the mall, and Kenneth and Anna don't have much choice but to join them. They get inside, and it's all clear and safe in there, it looks like.
Looks like it. The mall's closed and locked up. They have to actually break in.
Well, it seems quiet. Things soon get hectic when they find a few zombies already inside the mall. Janitors and stuff.
Not perfect. Yeah.
They run into 3 armed security guards, led by CJ, who takes all their weapons, and then the group stops to watch the news on TV. Nicole has been bitten, and Kenneth has a non-bite wound on his arm as well. Yeah, there's so many people, you just don't know who is and isn't bitten.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the kind that infection kills you right away. It's a slow virus. The group sets out to fortify the mall and dispose of the bodies. More and more zombies start surrounding the place. Maybe it's just out of instinct. They set up a signal on the roof for any passing helicopters, and CJ makes it clear that he's running the show. He and his friends are bullies and maybe not too smart. One of the guards seems like a decent guy, but eventually the news signs off. No more news. We have time then for the characters to talk. Andre the criminal and Kenneth the cop have a heart-to-heart about the apocalypse. The group turns against CJ and Bart, the 2 bad guards. A truck comes into the parking lot and backs up to the door. Several new people arrive, including one very sick-looking old woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know she's got it.
Bad sign coming, yeah.
There's a guy trapped on the roof of the gun store across the road, and he communicates by writing on a big sign. Inside, Anna helps the sick and wounded. 2 of the newcomers have been bitten. The old woman dies and almost immediately gets up and chases Anna, who stabs her through the head. They figure out that it's the bites that do it, so they decide to quarantine the bitten man, but then they decide it might be better just to shoot old Frank since he's clearly infected.
Yeah, they have a debate whether to just let it happen or kill him sooner. My thought was just lock him in a store.
They've got those big grates.
Yeah.
Well, things settle down for a little while as they're safe, with plenty of food and water and things to do in the mall. But then the power goes out, and there's a bit of a battle trying to get to the generator to turn it back on. Andre and Luda talk about the baby. They can feel it moving inside her. After a while, they all start settling into a routine at the mall. People wonder about Luda, that they haven't seen her in a few days, but Andre says she's fine.
And as he said that, I was thinking, no, she's not fine. He's keeping her hidden.
He's got her tied down to the bed, and she's looking really sickly. But she's not a zombie.
Yeah, it takes a while. If you're alive and get bit, it gradually infects you, but it takes a long time. Yeah, and she's alive still. She hasn't actually died yet. But
she was bit before we even met her, right?
Yeah, it took a long time.
And then you get people like Frank who got bit later, and he turned really quickly.
Yeah, it just depends on your immune system probably, and
Okay.
She was younger and healthier probably, and
Well,
there's probably other factors, but if you die, then you immediately rise up as a zombie.
Yeah. No telling how long the virus takes, but once you die, you're boom.
Yeah.
Well, she finally does die, and she turns very quickly. But then it's finally time for the baby to get birthed. Norma finds the happy family, and they all die in a shootout. Anna finds the zombie baby and shoots it herself. Smart-ass Steve jokes that they could all go to the marina and just get on his boat. The others think that may be a good idea. They all work to reinforce 2 of the mall's shuttle buses to carry them through the zombie hordes. Andy at the gun shop has all the guns and ammo they could possibly want, but he's starving and the trucks aren't ready yet. They try to get the pet dog to carry food over to Andy, and the dead ignore the little dog entirely. But they do follow him into the store and bite Andy.
Yeah, that almost worked. Yeah, they put saddlebags on the dog, and he
Why
manages
don't the
to
dead
just,
want to eat the dog?
I don't know. That doesn't cross species, I guess.
It's still meat.
It's meat. Yeah, brains. Yeah, dog brains are not as tasty, I guess. Yeah.
Well, Nicole, who's best friends
Actually,
with the
they're
dog.
not obsessed with brains here. They just want to bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole is best friends with the dog, and she goes crazy and crosses the street to save the dog. She makes it over there just fine, but Andy, who has turned, has her trapped there. Some of the group then goes through the sewers to get outside and into the gun shop for more ammo. Why didn't they do that earlier?
Didn't think of it. Didn't think it would work.
They
Plus it's nasty.
It's not as nasty as the zombies.
That's true. Yeah.
They get what they need, but they lose a couple more guys on the way back. The zombies get into the mall, so everyone runs to the elevator and out to the reinforced trucks. There are thousands of dead outside.
They used a lot of extras in this one.
It may have been CGI at that point.
It could have been.
It could have been.
Yeah.
And they swarm the two trucks. They blow up propane bombs to clear the parking lot and drive on. They drive too fast and bad things happen to one of the trucks. Steve abandons everyone and he pays the price. But they do snag his boat keys. The few survivors get into the remaining truck and head to the marina. CJ blows himself up when he's cornered, which does save the others. He gets a little redeemed there.
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
Michael gets bitten and chooses to stay behind. Terry, Nicole, Anna, and Kenneth take the boat and sail off into the sunrise.
Into the dawn of the dead.
Yeah. Well, it's super gory and violent. There is some humor and a lot of characters here. I don't think a single small propane tank would make a boom like that.
Those are really effective.
Yeah. And we get 3 of them here. They use that trick 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
It never lets up. It's very unrelenting, and it never gets boring. If you like the classic style zombies, the ones that don't just turn immediately like 28 days later, this is one of the best of its type.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, we both like this one. It's in the top of the running, in my opinion, for maybe best zombie movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And 28 Days Later, and this one, I'm not really sure. Train to Busan, yeah, I always forget that one.
Uh-huh, yeah.
That's actually probably number 1.
I think those 3 are probably my top 3 favorite zombies. Yeah.
They're all fast zombies, too.
Pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, what's next?
The Devil's Candy from 2015.
Yum.
I bet it's cinnamon and really hot. Yeah.
Written and directed by Sean Byrne, stars Ethan Embry, Shiri Appleby, Pruitt Taylor Vince. 1 hour and 19 minutes. Trailer in the show notes if you haven't heard of this one. It was surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was.
With a family to root for and an impressive performance from Pruitt Taylor Vince as the wacko. Throw in supernatural element, and we've got a winner that we both liked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Spoil it for us.
Well, Ray Smiley hears voices in his sleep, so he gets up and plays electric guitar really loud in the middle of the night, till his wife comes in and yells at him. But he says, if I play it loud, I can't hear them. Well, she tells him to pack his things. He's going back to the hospital. Instead, he kills her. And credits roll.
Not going back to that hospital.
No. Well, Jesse tells his daughter, Zoe, that most people don't like metal. And then he proceeds to play it repeatedly, much to his wife Astrid's chagrin. He's an artist, and the whole family is moving out into the country, into a house that was supposed to have belonged to Ray Smiley. Yes, people died here, but the place is a bargain. Ray Smiley's parents died. Meanwhile, Ray Smiley lurks around a nearby motel, checks into the place in the most creepy way possible.
Yeah, he's a little weird.
And he soon starts playing the electric guitar at high volume, which doesn't go over well. The police show up and arrive because of the noise. And without the noise, Ray has to endure the voices.
Those damn voices are back.
Mm-hmm. Jesse drops Zoe off at school and then returns home, and he also starts hearing voices. But on the bright side, he's inspired to get to work on his paintings. The entire day passes, but he doesn't even notice, and he paints a black upside-down cross. When Ray comes to their door, talks to Zoe about flying V guitars. I need to come home now. This is Mommy and Daddy's house. Well, they're dead, and this is their house now. Jesse tells him he needs to leave now. Ray comes back to the motel and watches a TV preacher talking about Satan and the devil. And he's still hearing voices. Well, the next morning, Zoe finds a flying V and an amplifier on the porch that Ray left for her.
It's an expensive gift.
Yeah, but he can't play it anymore. No noise complaints. So, Jesse needs money and goes to see Leonard, who runs a gallery. Jesse gets inspiration for a new painting, and Ray kills some kids in the park. They're kind of the same scene.
Yeah. He's painting the murderer's victims.
Yeah, he's hearing it happen or something. Yeah, some strange crossover is happening. Strange connection. Well, it turns out he drew Zoe on fire, but he also did it on top of his only one painting that he was doing on commission. So he's out of money for that. Out the money, yeah. And he doesn't remember painting any of it. He's having visions and painting them and, kind of zoning out while he does it. Well, Jesse tries to destroy the painting, but the voices won't let him. And we soon find that the kids in the park aren't Ray's first victims. At some point in the night, Ray comes into the house and sleeps in Zoe's bed right next to her. Luckily, Astrid comes in and runs him off, and Jesse comes running in, but he gets kicked in the head, so can't chase him. The police come, tell them to change the locks, maybe move into a motel for a few days.
You think?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, Jesse stays up all night to watch, but all he sees is a black goat. He keeps having visions. Leonard's people call in the morning, and he wants to come see Jesse's work today. Well, it turns out Leonard loves the work and offers him a show. Your latest work is wonderfully disturbing. Well, unfortunately, Leonard takes all day, which makes Jesse late to pick up Zoe from school again, and a flat tire only makes it worse. When he finally gets to school, Zoe's gone. Ray got her somehow. Well, flash into Zoe, who manages to get out of her duct tape bonds and get out the bathroom window. And she manages to get to the police station and is reunited with Jesse and Astrid. The police tell Jesse about Ray's long history in the mental hospital. The officer reads one of Ray's files. He once said, "I have to feed him children, as children are his candy."
The devil's candy.
Yep. They want to put the whole family into witness protection, which I don't think is how witness protection works, but, police protection at least.
Yeah, they're not really witnesses to anything.
Yeah. Well, Ray goes to the store and buys a can of gas and a lighter. Jesse destroys his evil paintings as the family packs to move out. Ray shows up and kills the 2 cops that are on guard outside. Ray opens the front door, shoots Jesse. He drags Zoe off with him once again upstairs and sets the house on fire behind him. Jesse and Astrid do make it outside, but Zoe and Ray are trapped upstairs. Jesse comes up the ladder, and after a brief struggle, he beats Ray with the flying V guitar. The fire gets Ray. Jesse and Zoe make it out. The whole injured family reconvenes in the front yard as their house burns to the ground. Jesse walks into the woods in a trance and finds the location where Ray hid all his bodies.
Convenient.
Yeah, wrapped up.
Well, okay. We did basically like it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesse, the actor, looks like a strung-out crackhead from the very first scene. So his descent into madness doesn't really change him very much.
It's a small descent.
He's weird
to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a half-step descent.
They should have made him a little more clean-cut and normal for the early scenes. But he hears the voices and does the paintings, but he never really goes insane in the same way Ray did.
No.
He wasn't exposed for so long, I guess. Pruitt Taylor Vince as Ray is really good here. He's just about made a career out of playing creeps and serial killers. He's quite batshit here, and totally believable in every scene. And we thought it was surprisingly good.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, pretty decent. Did you watch a short?
We did. Vestige from 2023.
Directed by Joe Simmons, written by Joe Simmons, and Gwynnie Lindell Benedictson. Stars Ben Hackett, Steve Evans, and Corin Silva. 12.5 minutes. This is doing the festival circuit right now, but there is a trailer you can watch, which we link to in the show notes. What happens?
So we got to see it early.
We did.
Yeah. And I get to say this is Lovecraftian, and it really is.
It very definitely
Because
is,
it's
yes.
not by Lovecraft, but it certainly is. Yeah. Well, a young guy walks along the beach as a voiceover talks about music. The voice then reminds him to look under the rocks for fossils. He cracks open a rock, finds a strange fossilized creature inside. It's magnetic or something, and it affects his tape recorder when he gets it close to it. Well, later, his grandfather says the boy's father recorded hundreds of tapes before the accident. He starts listening to the old tapes of his father's voice, and he finds strange things on it.
Yeah. Old technology is kind of fun and all, but who knew cassette tapes would ever be cool again?
They're cool in this, and they're perfect for the story.
They work.
Yeah.
It's not quite clear what's going on for quite a while, but the acting is good, the locations are excellent, and the mystery is unexpected. Will Lucas find his missing father? And if he does, is that a good thing?
We liked it.
We liked it, yes.
Yeah, that's Vestige. Yeah, keep an eye out for that one.
Vestige.
Vestige.
Okay, and that's all we're going to talk about today. If you'd like to read about Demonic Toys from 1992, where the characters weren't very interesting and it was hard to root for,
But
the practical effects were pretty
cool.
good.
Yeah, the toys were cool.
And this is made by the same people that did the Puppet Master stories, so that guy's just into dolls, I guess.
He knows his puppets.
Yeah. And then there's Holidays from 2016, which has a whole bunch of different segments, one for each holiday. There's one for Easter and St. Patrick's Day and Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and New Year's. And
we like
something bad happens in all of them.
Yeah. These are not happy holidays for the most part.
Happy holiday, no.
For the most part, no. But overall, it was good, and some we clearly liked more than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some are just sort of played for laughs, while others are actual,
Others are
scary stories.
Downright grim. Yeah.
All right.
The grimmest one might have been Easter. With.
Yeah,
rising from the dead and all, Jesus rising from the dead, and
the Jesus bunny,
and the Easter bunny that comes into your house at night.
All right, well, that is it for this week. Stop on over to horrorguys.com for links to all these different various things. We got the podcast at horrorguyspodcast.com. We got the bookstore at horrorguyshop.com. There's the newsletter at horrorbulletin.com. And I bet there's 6 or 8 more URLs that I've forgotten about. But just go to horrorguys.com and it links to everything.
Yeah, it does.
And then we'll see you next week. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
See ya.
See ya.